Dear dream travelers, now make yourselves comfortable in your warm beds and take a deep breath. I am taking you to a place you can see not just with your eyes, but with your soul, the Stardust Forest. This forest was so special that even at night, the glimmer of thousands of tiny stars in the sky would filter through the branches, and every drop of dew was a reflection of the heavens. In the heart of the Stardust Forest lived a small, curious firefly named Flicker, whose light burned the brightest every night, but whose heart was always searching for a secret. Unlike the other fireflies, who were only concerned with finding food and dancing, Flicker was dedicated to unraveling the mystery of the legendary emerald leaf light, which appeared only once every 100 years, right after the first autumn frost. It was whispered that this light would sow the seed of infinite hope and wisdom in the heart of the beholder. Because of this quest, Flicker was often regarded with suspicion, especially the forest's oldest and most respected, yet most skeptical resident, Elder Bartlett, the great badger, with his deep, low voice, always warned him, "Flicker, that light is just an empty lullaby told by our mothers. True wisdom is in the ground beneath your feet, not in dreams." Though Bartlett's words tried to extinguish the fire of hope within Flicker, they failed. Destiny knocked on his door at the most unexpected moment. The moon was a little past full, and the sky was covered in a silver dust. Beneath the massive, twisting roots of a centuries-old musk pine, Flicker stumbled upon a delicate, dry silkworm cocoon. This was no ordinary cocoon. Etched upon it in moss ink were intricate patterns of moon phases and 7-pointed stars. This was the long-lost light guide map from ancient times. The map indicated that the emerald leaf light would appear that very night at the forgotten Tear Pond, the forest's quietest and most difficult-to-reach place, which was constantly shrouded in mist. Flicker, his heart drumming like a tiny drum, immediately ran to his most trusted friend, the agile little field mouse named Pip, who disliked sleep and was always ready for an adventure. Pip squinted his tiny nose while examining the map. "Traveling this far for a legend, Flicker? They say there are old swamps and mud trolls around that pond, but to see that light, it might be worth the risk," he whispered, with a mischievous sparkle in his eyes. "Let's go, Light Guide. Time is short." The two brave heroes set off, following the map's directions. The journey was even harder than Elder Bartlett could have imagined, and they faced 3 major obstacles. The labyrinth of shadow bushes. First, they had to navigate through the dark and confusing shadow bushes, whose branches were intricately tangled. Only Flicker's bright light and Pip's keen sense of smell allowed them to find the exit. The silent river crossing. The second hurdle was the wide and icy silent river. They crossed the river using a hollowed-out, overturned bark canoe. Pip took on the rowing, while Flicker illuminated the misty air above the water. The birch tree ascent. Finally, they had to climb the slippery and steep birch tree slope. They were close to stopping from exhaustion on this slope, but they encouraged each other to keep going. Finally, at the top of the slope, as the mist slowly began to clear, they saw the forgotten Tear Pond. The pond was crescent-shaped and surrounded by tall, pale reeds. As the hours crept toward midnight, they sat on a wet stone by the edge of the pond. Everything was silent. They could only hear their own heartbeats. Flicker's light was flickering as he oscillated between hope and doubt. At that very moment, the color of the great moon in the sky began to change slowly. It shifted from silver white to a soft cobalt blue, eclipsing all the surrounding stars. The blue light shone down on the oldest pine tree that stood over the pond, whose leaves had completely dried. And then it happened. A single needle leaf at the very top of the tree unexpectedly began to glow. The leaf burned with a color they had never seen before. the deepest, most vivid emerald green light. The light was so pure and intense that the surface of the pond looked as if it was covered in thousands of tiny green diamonds. The light emitted an energy of peace that swept away their fatigue, doubt, and all their fears. The miraculous moment lasted for only the span of 12 breaths. Then, the emerald light faded, the blue moon returned to its silver color, and the area was once again bathed in the dim light of the stardust forest. Pip whispered, his voice full of wonder and awe, "We saw it, Flicker. It was real. We were all wrong." Flicker, his tiny heart overflowing with joy, shone brighter than he ever had in his life. The greatest gift of the adventure was not the wish fulfillment, but learning how powerful the magic of belief itself was. Elder Bartlett was wrong. The most valuable wisdom was sometimes earned by pursuing dreams.